With 2024 over, 2025 is now here. New animes coming out. We got Doctor Stone, My Happy Marriage, and the rest of them I can't remember right now. Honey Lemon Soda, that's the one I'm going to watch. And I'm here joined by Ben, Manga Flows. How we doing?
I'm doing good, Connor. I'm doing good. How are yourself?
I'm doing amazing because we've got loads of anime coming out and loads and loads and loads. So we're just going to talk about it, talk about our predictions for the year, also things like the Crunchyroll Anime of the Year awards, which will obviously be later in the year, and what's been going wrong and what's been going right. And also I got my little list. Actually, let me show you this first, actually. So I used to do it on my phone, right? Where I would write down on Monday I'm watching this, on Tuesday I'm watching this, on. But I got a lovely little piece of paper that says, my handwriting's awful, ignore that bit. But a lovely piece of paper
You,
that tells me what I'm watching, right?
you, you truly do have a watch schedule.
I do, and it's on my pinboard. So I'm just going to go through this quickly. So Mondays are My Happy Marriage. So you guys might want to write this down as well. Mondays are My Happy Marriage. Tuesdays are nothing for me. There's nothing I'm planning to watch on Tuesdays. And this is the days they release as well. Wednesdays are ReZero, starting again, and Honey Lemon Soda. Thursdays are Blue Box and Doctor Stone, which will be quite good. Fridays are The Apothecary Diaries, and then Saturdays are Solo Leveling and Sakamoto Days, which is going to be absolutely amazing. And Sundays are nothing, from what I can see. Nothing.
Well, I can already tell you now, I'm going to be the most excited for Saturdays. Just for Sakamoto Days.
Not Solo Leveling or just Sakamoto Days?
I'm just excited for Sakamoto Days. You know how much I've glazed this manga to you. I have gone on and on about this manga and how it is one of the best, ongoing, shonen series right now you can possibly read. And the fact that it's getting an anime that's hopefully going to be it is as accessible as Dandadan. So I'm hoping it gets a really good treatment.
Well, I think. I mean, I don't know anything. I mean, I got the first volume, and I've read 3/4 of the first volume, right? So obviously, I'm very educated. But it's funny you mentioned Dandadan as well, because Dandadan. I mean, it was a good anime anyway. Obviously, I've read the manga for it, or up to volume whatever it was. But I think it did so well because of the intro. The intro, it was such a banger. Like people were making memes about it. It was getting posted everywhere, which got people interested in it in the first place. Then they went and watched it and seen how good it was anyway.
Or the thing that happened with Dandadan was that Dandadan got leaked. Giant Netflix leak happened, and because of that, the opening got leaked, and everyone was like, "Yo, this opening slaps hard."
I remember,
And people didn't actually go and watch the anime episodes. People only cared about the opening, and because of that, then it just became like the big thing about the opening, because the opening was just so different to like every other anime opening.
It was also ReZero, wasn't it? As ReZero and was it ReZero?
Yeah, so ReZero's first entire episode got leaked.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dandadan's first 6 episodes got leaked. I'm pretty sure it was.
Just half of the entire thing.
Yeah, but no, as far as I saw no one actually going to watch the episodes, which was good. Like everyone actually waited for the anime to come out.
Yeah.
People just cared about the intro.
Yeah, well, I mean, the intro did slap, to be fair. So I hope Sakamoto Days can have a good intro. I hope it can actually. I mean, I think it's going to be good anyway, and the trailer looks good. But obviously, it's kind of hard to. Like, people said 2024 wasn't like that good of a year for anime, and as you look back at the list and what was coming out each season, okay, maybe there was 1 or 2 big anime for each season. Winter obviously was Solo Leveling, Delicious in Dungeon. Spring was Kaiju number 8, and I guess things like Windbreaker, but they weren't as big. They were just there. But Kaiju was big. Kaiju was massive, I think.
I think Windbreaker was actually pretty big. It's just it didn't see the success as Kaiju because I think Kaiju was just international because it was like streamed on Twitter. It had the opening and ending done by English artists.
True, yeah.
And I don't know, there was just something about Kaiju that was just so easy to watch, basically, compared to, like, say, Windbreaker.
What will be interesting, and I find this really interesting, is that, obviously, I would say, like I was saying there, Spring, Kaiju was the big dog, Fall, Dandadan was the big dog. Both of their Season 2s are coming out in the same period next year. They're both coming out in the summer, I believe, for
Well,
this next year.
Connor, in July we've got Sakamoto Days, just Core 2,
Yeah.
Dandadan Core 2, Kaiju Core 2.
Jeez.
It's literally it's
Oh,
3 of them right
I
there,
didn't
all in
realize
July.
Sakamoto Days was then as well. I knew it was getting its
Yeah,
core too, but I thought it was a little bit later. I thought maybe it was in
no,
the fall.
it's all in the summer period. So yeah, that's it. Is gonna be a crazy like summertime. I feel like 2025 is gonna be a really big year for like the shonen like genre again. Like the past few years, it's been about the isekais. We've had the like revival of like good fantasy anime,
Yeah, yeah,
and now we're getting into okay, let's give shonen anime its proper treatment it should have had. Like Bleach's last season has been doing really well. Kaiju's doing good. Dandadan's doing good, and I hope Sakamoto Days
does well as well.
gets does well as well. I mean, even Blue Box. Blue Box is a shonen. It's in Shonen Jump, and it's got an amazing treatment currently. So I can see it definitely. More and more efforts going into these more popular shonen anime that are coming out now.
Yeah, what is also the I was saying on a live stream the other week, I was saying don't let 2025 run away from you in terms of anime. I believe and I will stand on business for the next 5 years. I think maybe not 5 years, but the next 3 years at least, right? 2025, 6 and 7. 2025 will be the best year for anime we're gonna get in a while. I think it's like we are now in the bull run. We're getting stonks. We are, because there's so much coming out in each season. Things to be announced as well. I mean, I'm just gonna rattle off from my head. Obviously, Dandadan, Kaiju number 8, Sakamoto Days, Solo Leveling, Call of the Night season 2. I can't even remember the rest of them now, but there's a whole bunch of them. Free Run season 2. That's another one. My Happy Marriage, Doctor Stone. Like the anime just comes out of no Windbreaker, Go Loser Ranger season 2s. So much.
There's
So
tons
much.
of season 2s. Like even like for ones that may not necessarily be your type of taste. Like you got My Dress Up Darling season 2
Yeah.
confirmed for next
Yeah.
year. Like, there's another season. Another season of Ocean is confirmed. We think it is next year as well. Like there are just tons and tons of anime that are coming out really quickly now because
Yeah.
it's getting that popularity again. Which, I mean, rightfully so. Like all the shows mentioned, 100% deserve the praise they've had for like good reasons. And we're not just talking about this to hype the shows up either. Like we genuinely do enjoy these shows.
Yeah. I even though I look back on like things like especially Kaiju, I didn't really like. I think what ruined Kaiju for me. I like Kaiju. I love Kaiju, but it was the last episode 11 was better than episode 12 in my opinion. And the way they ended the fight. Spoilers now, by the way. But the way they ended the fight on episode 11 should have just started that in episode 12 instead of leaving it on a cliffhanger, which we had cliffhanger after cliffhanger after cliffhanger, blah blah blah. And they sort of, I think they just he was about to throw the first punch and then nobody got you the way, and I'm just like, no, give it to me. So by the next week, the hype's died down for the fight a little bit, because I wasn't seeing it online as much as something like Dandadan, for example. And then they showed the fight in the first half of the 12 episodes, and then they set up the rest of it, obviously. And I was just like, well, I'm kind of done with it at this point, because I know it's the end. But I'll tell you something that I know you're gonna put a big smile on, and something you put me on is I was very surprised. Obviously, Oshinoko season 2 came out this year in 2024, and obviously it's my first time watching, so obviously I caught up to the episodes releasing actually, because I watched it all in dub and then I finished it in sub. I actually remember when I was in Denmark, I watched Oshinoko in the nights because it was that guy. I wanted to keep up with it, so I think like one episode dropped, and I was like, I have to watch this more than anything else. And man, what an anime! It doesn't. It's like, I don't know. Do you know when you think of an anime, you hear of an anime, and you're like, oh, I know what this is about just by the name. But then you get into it, it's nothing like you expected.
I always tell people, like, when I tell them the plot line of Ocean Occur, you're like, what the hell is this anime? Like, it is the most insane anime,
Yeah.
You could describe. And, like, even, like, telling out, like, oh, yeah, it's about an idol's, like, kids reincarnated. and it's a revenge story. That's like barely scratching the surface of it.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much that goes into Oceanaka, and like with the second season, it truly does shine in its animation department and highlights so many aspects about the characters. Watching season 2, I didn't expect them to go as hard as they actually did, especially in the play with like the different animation styles. Like reading the manga, like there was some really like pretty like panels, but like watching the anime was a whole different experience. I'd say it's my anime of the year, but I'm pretty biased, you know.
Yeah, a little bit biased,
Um,
a little bit. I think it deserves a spot in everybody. If you had to do like a top 10 of the year, I think it deserves a spot somewhere in there.
yeah,
100%. I think I don't know because I haven't read the manga, but from the sort of the what is the arc called? The stage arc, the play arc.
it's
Like
the yeah, it's the fall. Technically, yeah, you just call it the like stage arc.
the stage arc.
Because it's the like or like the life, yeah, stage arc. I think that's the best like way to explain it.
I think there's I don't know how, like you said, how if it's good or not in the manga, but like from my perception, putting characters we already know from the first season and how crazy and wacky and amazing and like you said, revenge story, and then putting them into, obviously it all serves to it, but putting them in the state, like it just sounds so boring. Like you're taking these characters who've been doing actual, you know, film, TV work, knowing other people in the industry, you're getting into that sort of the thing, and you chuck them in for 6 episodes, 7 episodes in a stage play. It like in one stage play, it's just like, well, I'm gonna be bored of it. But the way they do it, actually, for me, it sounds like a mid arc. They make it amazing somehow, and I don't know if it is in the manga, just like it's just an arc, like it's just okay.
Like it was really good in the manga, like personally for me,
Yeah.
because you got to learn about the whole process as well of how making the stage even comes to like real life.
Yeah.
Like especially in the first few episodes of season 2, you know, learning about the script writing and how the stage actually, like what stage they're wanting to do, like the different styles of it. Like you'd think that's so boring, like you wouldn't want to sit through that, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of drama and tension in it, and like it's true, it's like that in the Japanese entertainment industry, and I think that's what was so good about it, was that it just felt real in some like scenes of like how the drama played out compared to like over exaggerating like a character, you know, not wanting to do something, let's say.
It's quite hard to nail the atmosphere of being in a rehearsal room with other people. Obviously, I don't know it from a Japanese point of view, but I know it from being in Bristol point of view when I was doing acting. I think that's why I love it, because that arc stands out to me more than the other ones, even though the other one is the main story. I mean, it all goes together, but you know, the other one technically is the revenge and why we're there in the first place, why it's important to watch the show. But actually, like looking at people in their, you know, jogging bottoms, like they're friends, maybe they go out to eat afterwards, like that stuff happens with especially young actors. We used to do rehearsals maybe 6 till 8 or 4 till 7, and then go to Weatherspoons afterwards and get a drink, and maybe we would talk about the thing and talk about something else, what other things are going on. So it was actually really such a pleasure to watch.
See, now you mentioned earlier about Solo Leveling season 2. Now, we've had some news come out about season 2, basically.
Right.
And as someone who reads the manga, who primarily reads stuff, in season 2, they're apparently adapting the whole Jeju Island raid arc. Now, and it's confirmed for 12 episodes.
Yeah.
If they're adapting the entire arc and everything, they are planning to adapt 65 plus episodes of the manhwa, because it's not called chapters in manhwa, they're episodes.
Right. Okay.
Which basically means that it's about 4 episodes per episode of the anime.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Which is an absolutely crazy amount to fit in.
That is a lot.
It's 65. It's literally a statistic. It's 65% more than season 1.
Right.
So,
okay.
I don't know how much I can like trust on like it being good. Like how much they're gonna like skip over certain parts of the story.
Did you watch the film?
No, I haven't watched the film
No. Okay.
because it wasn't playing in any theaters near me.
Okay. Fair enough. So I did, but obviously they spent like I think it was 2 hours long, and they probably spent about an hour 20 just doing the recap stuff, just which was actually kind of
Yeah.
useful for me because I forget things like anything. Um, but when they showed season two, I've absolutely I'm excited for it because I've seen it. But what it felt like is in that film is that even though they can't just show full episodes, that would just be boring, right?
Yeah.
And it would just ruin everything. It wouldn't create no hype. Now I'm excited to go see more. But they this is spoilers, by the way, for Solo Level. I mean, by the time this comes out, it's probably already out, right? But this is spoilers just in case. So the I don't know where it is in the manhwa, but the end of the film ended where, do you know where they go into the portal and it's red? It's a red portal and they can't get back out, and they're fighting the ice elves and things like that, and he gets the bears on his side, and things like that. Do you remember that?
So, see, that's so like where I'm at now. That's so
So
far
far
long
away.
ago. I can't even remember that happening.
Right.
Like the last, I remember the Jeju Island arc
Yeah.
just because I can't even spoil it for people. I don't even want to say like
Yeah. Okay.
what they're fighting because even that's for you. I'm
Right,
spoiling
I
it.
guess, yes, yeah. So what I will say, and this will be spoilers again, and then we'll leave it there for that. But for solo leveling, but it's so in the first season where they're fighting a spider because they get tricked, right, by that guy in the group, and they have to
Yeah.
end up fighting a spider, and then he ends up killing all the guys. One of the guys says, "You're gonna regret this because of my brother," and his brother's like some top dog, some top G, in America S-class hunter comes back, and then that's like, and he's now looking for
Yes,
so
I know where you are. Okay, I
that
got you.
so when he arrives in Japan, he's waiting outside of this red gate for them to come out if they do survive, which obviously they do. And then he gets called somewhere else, and then Sun Jin Woo comes out and leaves, and then that's where it ends. So that's like the big, gonna be the start of it. But that's what I'm
Got
hyped
you.
for because they've set it up. That's how they set it up. They show this entire gate, and then at the end they're like, "Oh, this is the conflict. This is the antagonist now because of that was his brother, who was obviously a dick."
I can't. I'm gonna say that I'm not hyped for season 2
Right.
just
Okay.
because of that information.
Oh. Okay.
I think it's gonna go downhill.
Wow.
I, I think the animation's gonna stay the same quality as it is.
Yeah.
Season 1 is gonna look amazing, but I think if you've read the manhwa personally, it's not gonna be an enjoyable watch.
Okay.
Just
I see.
because I personally, I feel like they're gonna skip over too much information in the end,
Right.
and
Okay.
you're just gonna you're purely gonna be watching it because you just want to see Sun Jin Woo be a badass. Let's say.
Yeah.
Which I mean, fair enough. If you do just want to watch it.
For that, but it's gonna skip over like some key, like for example,
Yeah.
if solo leveling was Oshinoko, they would skip over the scenes where they're rehearsing, and they would skip over and they would just show you the play. Is it like, you know what I mean? Is that the sort of thing they're gonna cut out scenes? Like, it's important in Oshinoko to see the rehearsal scenes, to see the play in action. But if you imagine that was solo leveling, do you think they're gonna cut out those rehearsal scenes? Let's call them.
I think it's going to be more so because he'll collect different pieces of armor or
Yeah.
stat bottles and such, and it's going to be they come into play later on, but they'll just skip over that, being like, oh, they don't need to know that.
Yeah.
What's the point? I can't see solo leveling season 2 being amazing just for now.
Wow.
But I want to be disproven. I do want to be disproven.
Well, I hope you get disproven as well. But I mean, I'll love it anyway. There's not many things I don't like. Right, we'll wrap it up here. But what I want to say is, which anime are you looking forward to, or season of anime are you looking forward to most in 2020? Let's do this. Which one do you think is going to perform the best? Which one do you think is going to perform the worst? Out of the main ones that we've talked about today, coming out next year. So which ones are you most excited for? Which ones do you think? Oh, actually, well, I guess solo leveling would be least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one I'm most looking forward to is Sakamoto Days.
Yeah.
The one that I think is gonna not be on my like personal like watch list would be Solo Leveling.
Yeah.
Like, but again, it's like, I mean, what's yours, Connor? Like, what are you most looking forward to? Like, you truly want to see it thrive.
If it comes out this year, which I think it will, it's free run season 2 for like the most excited, because I want to know if, not if it was a fluke, right? But if it was just
Mm.
like everybody's had the taste of that slow fantasy story driven thing, right? Where it's more about the passage of time rather than just like the fantasy element of it. The fantasy element just serves the story rather than being the main focus. So I want to know if it gets
Yeah,
to season 2, are people going to be. It revived the fantasy genre, but now by season 2, are they going to be bored of it and be like. People already say it's too slow. I thought it was too slow to begin with, and then as I watched more and more, I loved it. But I wonder if people are gonna be like, "Oh, I understand it now. It actually feels a bit slow." But I don't know what happens in the story for it to get slow. I don't know.
that's,
But
that's the thing. Even for me, Freerun was really slow in the manga. Like, I went into Freerun not just knowing it's about the end of an adventure. So I was like, oh, what are they even going to do?
yeah,
So I was like, oh, it's actually very slow. So I can't, even think about how slow it is in the anime, but everyone raved about it. It's the number one rated anime on
yeah, no,
Mao.
exactly, yeah,
And yeah, it did revive the fantasy genre, and it gave us like, I mean, even as I said, I didn't enjoy the manga. It still gave us one of the best like female leads in a fantasy like anime in the past decade. Like, no one can deny that Freeman is a great main character.
top tier, top tier female character as well. It's nice to see a female character, but it isn't just like fan service for once.
Yeah, like I actually like that all Freeman cares about is just learning spells and
Yeah,
magic. Like that's all she does, and that's all she's going to do. Yet
yeah,
she's been now tasked with another technically adventure,
yeah,
but just how to spend her time.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be good. And for the one for the least, I've got two options for the one that maybe like kind of like how you expect Solo Leveling maybe to not be as good as it could be. I think maybe Call of the Night season 2 might
Hmm.
not capture the same. I don't know what happens in the story, but it might not capture the same vibe. Like season 1, what came out in 2022, I
Is
think.
it that long? Is it 2
Uh,
years old?
I think so. Yeah. Uh,
Oh, it's
I think it's 2022. And I just feel like I don't know, vibes in different years are vibey. Like Call of the Night sound, even if it's not, I'm pretty sure it is, but even if it's not, Call of the Night sounds like a 2022 anime, right? It doesn't
I
sound
kind of
like
get
a
what you mean.
it doesn't sound like a 2005 anime or 2011 anime. It sounds like a 20, like so. And you have to watch it in the night as well, I think anyway. But I just don't know. I don't know what happens to the story, but hopefully it can live up to the same vibe. Because I prefer the story's kind of but the vibiness of it is what carries it for me. And if not that, probably because I am watching it right now, and I'm only on season 2, so I got some a little bit of catching up to do. But I've seen people say that Doctor Stone gets boring the longer it goes on, but I've been loving it. I'm halfway through season 2. I've been loving it, but apparently in season 3 it gets a little bit boring. But like I said, I haven't watched it, so hopefully in this fourth final season, now it's not poo, as people say. But that's just a few TikTok comments, so that doesn't really mean anything. But
See, this is the trick. Do you enjoy Doctor Stone for the actual science aspect, or like the other aspects of it?
I like how it teaches you more than school does, and science actually makes you interested in it. But it does it in a way where even if I mean, the stuff that I've learned from it, like when they make glass and things like, I've already forgotten, right?
Yeah.
I've already forgotten it. But when I'm watching it, it feels like I'm learning something, doing something productive, and it's funny as well. I'm watching it in the dub as well, and the dub is hilarious. Like it really is.
I think with Doctor Stone, what people get bored of is the actual like constant like having to make something
Yeah,
like so, and a lot later on it does like they advance like really quickly. I will say like in what they can make.
yeah,
I'm not going to spoil what they
yeah,
do
yeah,
make,
yeah,
but it does get quite intense later on of like what they can make and such. But if you enjoy like watching Senku and the squad literally in the Stone Age figuring out how to make stuff. I think you're going to enjoy watching Dr. Stone all
Yeah.
the way through, especially if you don't go into it thinking like, oh, there's going to be a lot of action and such.
Mm.
You're ready for that like more comedy adventure kind of story.
Yeah, I like the survival aspect of it as well. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect what happened in the first episode to happen. Like, you know, I didn't expect that at all. So hopefully that will live up to the expectation. Well, I think we'll cut it there. That has been me and Ben. I don't have no
Yes.
clue what the title of this podcast is going to be, but we'll figure it out.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first episode.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know any suggestions, feedbacks, topics we can talk about, what would make it better. Um, yeah, and I mean we'll catch you all again. So thank you very much, Ben.
We'll see you in the next episode.
All right, see you guys.
Peace out.